What's up, guys? This is Ron K. Armstrong, filmmaker extraordinaire, with another video for you. This video, I want to talk about how to master the audition process. But before I get into that, I want you to hit the like button on this video and share it with all those people who are in the industry. All right. I've been getting some emails, people asking me when am I going to start my classes, which were the comedic acting system I had together. Well, I'm not going to be doing it anytime soon, but I did tell them, those individuals that emailed me, that I would do several videos on the system that would help them improve their acting and, make a lot of noise in the industry. So here's one of those videos. And this is one of the things that I get a lot of questions about, is how to master the audition process, because everyone wants to get the role. Now, you may have heard me mention before that typically, when I go to like a job interview, because I subcontract myself out, I always get an interview I do really well. If I can get a face-to-face interview, I know I've got the job, because I have learned over the years through the study of hypnosis and OP how to influence people in a very positive way. So I know things such as reading subcommunication, understanding eye movement, understanding how to put them in a certain trance state using certain words, and emotionality, things of that nature. This is why I had came along and put together my system called the Comedic Acting System. And there was an ebook I distributed called The Science of Acting, which is really good. And a lot of people loved it. Now, mastering the audition process is no different than the job interview. And I leveraged a lot of those skills and put them into acting for actors in the business. So let's go over, I'm just going to cover some basic ideas here, and then you can take it further. And if you have questions, you feel free to put those questions in the description box. I will answer them. Now, one of the things I had recommended is that you go to as many auditions as possible. Even if you know you're not going to get the part, or you know you're not for the role, you want to get as much what we call as reference experience as possible, because going to those auditions, your subconscious mind is going to pick up on cues. I get into that a little later. But the other thing about that is you're going to learn to overcome your anxiety and your fear of the audition process, because you're going to so many, right? One of the things that you want to do also is not become invested in the audition, meaning that you have to let it go when you leave. When you leave there, forget about it. Don't become outcome dependent, meaning don't be like, oh, I've got to get that role, or else I'm in trouble, or I'll never make it in this business. Don't do that. That'll mess your career up. It definitely will influence your performance. So you want to go to as many auditions as possible, because it's going to help you overcome your anxiety, and you're going to learn how to calibrate. So let me explain a little bit about that, right? Let's say, for example, and this is most actors, you don't go to a lot of auditions, right? But the ones that come up, you do go to, you try to kick butt. That's the wrong approach, because what you're doing there is you're getting into a rigidity, a rigid type of way of going about it, and that activates the left brain. The left brain operates based on a paradigm or structure. So the left brain tends to reference that structure a lot. All right. Now, the right brain is more fluid. Okay. So it kind of goes with the flow. And this is where you get your intuition from, your emotionality from the right brain. So you want the right brain to kick in. So what happens when you go to a lot of auditions, you put the left brain to sleep and the right brain is activated. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to get esoteric on you. We're going to look at the tarot. This is the high priestess. Notice that she has the pillars, which are, one is black and one is white, which is an indication of left brain and right brain. And this is the god Tahuti, or Hermes, and he's the god of wisdom. These cards are very, very similar. So what is this card is telling you? The card is telling you that in order to be successful, or the real meaning of this card is using intuition or being fluid and dynamic, because the left brain is very structured. So when you go into these auditions, the one thing you want to learn to do is to go with the flow. It's not ad-libbing now. It's going with the flow and understanding the cues of what works and what doesn't work. Because the more auditions you go to, the more you're going to read into the casting director's likes and dislikes. And that's what we call subcommunication. You're reading them and picking up on those subtle cues. And what the right brain will do, if you're doing this enough, is it's going to start to calibrate to what works. You understand what I mean? It's going to adjust your performance without you even consciously being aware of it to what works. And this happens in everyday life. Let me give you an example. When you're, let's say you meet somebody you're dating, right? And it's going well and you're having more dates. Typically what you will do on a very subconscious level is you will filter out the character traits that that person doesn't like and enhance the traits that they do like. So you kind of take on a different personality around them. And this is also the same thing with a best friend. We tend to become different people when we're interacting with different people. You know, there's that side of us. There's a person you are with your mother. There's a person you are with your father. There's a person you are with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your brother, your sister. It changes. So when you're going to these auditions, what's going to happen is you're going to read the subcommunication from the casting director, and you're going to calibrate and adjust accordingly to what works. And what you'll find is that when you do these auditions, things will start to just go fluidly, successfully, and you'll notice that your performance will improve and that the casting director likes it. A lot of times you'll see this from veteran actors who've been around for a while, that they're good, they can read the subcommunication, they know what the casting director likes and doesn't like. So I want you to start thinking about those terms and looking at that, because if you are going to auditions not consistently, then you're going to get into a very rigid performance. You're going to rely on what we call as a reference experience, all right? What you did in your last audition. But when you start to go to a lot of them, then, as I said, that right brain will kick in and everything will become more fluid and more dynamic. And this is what this card is talking about. It's talking about, understanding how to energetically go with the flow of the matter, using your intuition, spontaneity, in the situation where appropriate. And that's what you want to do. That's how you can master the audition process. So I hope that has helped you. And of course, there are more details along with that, which I can go into, because you need to understand how to read the subtle cues. You need to understand a proper way to make eye contact, or if you should make eye contact, and how to spike the emotions when appropriate. But we can cover that in another video. So this is Ron K. I'm from Filmmaker Extraordinaire. Until my next video, go to the audition.